Well, when talking about history, I guess I should start in 1973. That's when Montana, now called Brancott Estate, first planted their commercial vines in Marlborough. They had a mix of different varieties. Balasoglou was widely planted, but of course Sauvignon Blanc. Along with them, there were a few other wineries founded in the 70s, and they make up the first wave. The second wave came about in the mid-1980s, and actually it was two Australians that, in my opinion, really pushed the envelope in terms of quality Marlborough wines. One of them was David Honan. He founded Cloudy Bay, 1985. And the other one is our Robert Hill Smith, who founded Nautilus, also in 1985. Robert was here selling some of his wines in New Zealand and came upon Marlborough and just fell in love with the potential here. So he went home and talked to his dad, managed to convince him of his belief of the region, and the rest is history. Currently we sell to over 40 countries worldwide. We have a focus on world-class Sauvignon Blanc, but we also make fine examples of Pinot Noir, Pinot Gris, Albarino, Rosé, and Méthode Traditionnelle.
Good morning. Well, 2 days ago we picked our last Sauvignon from the 2020 vintage, so the last fruit came in through the door. And obviously this year with, it's been quite a challenging year in terms of how we've had to operate, and we've had to be aware that there's a bit of a pandemic going on, and we've had to be very careful about our social distancing and interactions and things. So it's been a very strange vintage from that point of view. Not quite as social as it normally is. We've had to keep our distance and things, and look, we're very, very lucky that we were able to keep harvesting during what was effectively a national shutdown in New Zealand, so we can be thankful of that, that's for sure. But look, the one thing we didn't have to worry about this year was the weather, and the weather has been absolutely fantastic, and it was, there's no pressure to pick at all from a weather point of view. We seem to go into a autumnal period quite quickly. So we had these cool nights, so we've retained acidity, and that's sort of perhaps compared to the previous two vintages we'd have been a little bit warmer. So we finished quite early, but this year we definitely retained that distinctive acidity that we associate with the Marlborough region, so that's exciting. So I've got here one of our early picks of Sauvignon that was, it's about halfway through fermentation, and look, the winery is just, awash with aromas of Sauvignon. Very, very excited about the Sauvignon this year. There's not a dud batch in the winery, it's all fantastic. And across the other varieties here, again, very, very strong. Most of our Pinot is still on skins, so we've got a bit of work ahead of us in the next couple of weeks, pressing those off and barrelling down. But they look very good. Aromatics are strong. Look, this would be, weather-wise, one of the best vintages we've had, I think. In probably the last one I remember like this would have been 2007, so perhaps over 10 years since we've had this sort of weather conditions over autumn, which is exciting. It's just that we would have perhaps in different circumstances had the opportunity to pick today, pick tomorrow. Let's pick tomorrow, let's go to the pub today. Unfortunately this year all the pubs were closed, so we didn't have that option, so we tended to just let's keep going and keep picking. So we finished 2 days ago on the 4th of April, equivalent to our earliest harvest finish that we've had, but very, very excited about the wines we're going to be producing, and looking forward to seeing how it all comes together in a month or so when they finish fermentation. Cheers.
Twin Island Sauvignon Blanc, the chosen one. So this is a wine that is that real classic Marlborough style. You can see the pins up here that represent where we produce, where we grow grapes, and basically this is a blend that represents the whole of the Marlborough region. So some of the riper fruit from the northwestern corner, some of the cooler fruit from the southern valleys, and then a component from the Awatere as well too. So we really want this wine to show or exhibit everything that Marlborough has to offer. Zingy, fresh, fruity, crisp acidity, good concentration, but also delivers on the palate too. So just a great value, classic Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. And here we have Nautilus Sauvignon Blanc. So this is the wine where the brand started back in 1985, and arguably the flagship wine in our portfolio. This is the wine we sell to over 40 countries all around the world. So very much a classic style of Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc, in that we're looking for that, distinctive zingy character, purity, really fresh fruit character. But we think we make a slightly more serious style, and by that I mean it's got both style and it's got substance. So the style is all those punchy aromatics that we're used to with Marlborough Sauvignon. The substance is the palate weight. So this wine also delivers on the palate as well too. So it's a regional blend. It's from vineyards dotted throughout the region, and each vineyard has its own particular characteristic. But our goal is to sort of marry those particular styles of Sauvignon that we think are most appropriate for this wine, blend them together, and make a complete package of Sauvignon. So certainly a Sauvignon that we're very tremendously proud of, and we will put up against anything from this region and expect it to hold its own. Certainly a serious Sauvignon Blanc. So here we have Nautilus Pinot Noir, and this is labelled as Southern Valleys. So the Southern Valleys are this area here on the south of the Wairau plains. And what we're doing with our premium Pinot is moving from the valley floor up onto the foothills of the hills. So basically seeking a clay-based soil, and that clay-based soil gives us this really nice mid-palate fruit sweetness and really fine-grained tannins. So we've been making Pinot in this region for over 20 years now, and I guess the lessons we've learned is where to grow it and how to grow it, and the future is very exciting. So with Pinot, you get typically in that sort of ripe red fruit character. They're all natural ferments. We've got a little bit of savoury complexity in the wine, and across the palate we're starting to see much more structure coming from fruit. So we're starting to incorporate a whole bunch component into our fermentations, and that's making the wine much more complete. So yeah, an exciting Pinot, fruit driven but with a nice little bit of complexity. Nice, soft, fine-grained tannins, really delicious now, easy to drink now, but this one will actually also age comfortably for 10 years if you want to look at a more sort of savoury style.
Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our update of Vintage 2020. I can tell you there are some very good wines on their way to you eventually. I really do hope they go down the treat. On a side note, can I just say that we are all thinking of you. We know how tough it is at the moment throughout the world. We will get through it, and when we do get back to a little bit of normal, and you do find yourself in New Zealand, we'd very much love to host you. So look us up. We'll look forward to it. All the best, guys. Ciao.